What kind of a mount are you looking for? A backyard pet your children can grow up with? Or a reliable trail animal to help you enjoy the high country? Do you love a reining spin or the intricate moves of the dressage arena? Do you long to be flying high on a jump course? Or does driving a Surrey with the fringe on top sound like your cup of tea? Whatever kind of equine companion you're looking for, you'll want one that will perform in a safe, obedient manner. The purpose of these programs is to help you understand mules and donkeys and learn how to handle and train them correctly. Now, we know that not everyone watching owns a mule. Some of you own horses. Well, there's something here for you too. You'll notice that these are simple, easy-to-follow lessons. They're designed to teach you a variety of correct training methods for horses as well as for mules and donkeys. The result? Whether his ears are long or short, you'll have a well-mannered, well-trained animal. This program features segments from an award-winning video series created for the equine industry by acclaimed trainer and educator Meredith Hodges. Because of this, you'll hear occasional references to the videos and also to the workbooks and field cards that are included with the video series. The field cards that come with the videos are a great training tool that can be taken right into the arena. We'll be sure to give you information on the complete training series later in the program. Now let's learn a little about Meredith Hodges and why so many people rely on her as their training consultant.
I tried to make my techniques really simple. How do they work for you?
Well, they're wonderful. They're step by step, complete with photos and everything. They're easy to follow, they're easy to understand, and they're thorough. You know, one of the things with Miss Izzy, because I was so green and didn't really know what to do, is, you know, if I would take her up to something and she would be afraid of it, I would just, okay, well, we won't go there. Well, you taught me the confidence by using your program that if I take it step by step and take it carefully and follow your directions and give Izzy the time and the praise and everything, she's eventually going to do it. And I was totally amazed. And with praise and everything, and it just taught me the confidence. It's like, okay, well, she went over the tarp. Now we can do something else. This is good.
That's right.
I bonded so well with her. I mean, she's like my best friend. I love her dearly.
Mules are wonderful animals. They're strong, intelligent, affectionate, with a great sense of humor, and what incredible athletes. But training a mule is different than training a horse. When you're training a mule, you have to take into consideration the donkey half as well as the horse half.
Once you have done your showmanship and groundwork on the lead line, if your preference is driving, you're ready to begin your lunging training. This program will help you to decide upon the most suitable harness and cart or carriage for your driving prospect and will help you to prepare your animal for the work to come.
Each week our program covers a different phase of management and training. No matter what kind of equine companion you're interested in, you'll find techniques that will help you reach your training goals and bond with your animal in the process. Just remember, the keys to success are patience, kindness, and understanding.
Hi, I'm Meredith Hodges. My goal in presenting this series of programs is for you to understand mules and donkeys and learn how to handle them in any situation. In today's program, we'll talk about driving mules and donkeys. The techniques presented in this show I think you'll find both useful and logical, and they'll lead to a positive relationship with your animal. But you should realize that this program can't possibly teach you everything there is to know about training your animal to pull a vehicle. It would be wise to consult other sources and possibly even a professional trainer. If you'd like more information about what's shown here, we'll provide details at the end of the show on how you can order the books and videotapes that accompany this series. Let's get started. Walk on.
In this tape, we'll focus on training your animal to pull a vehicle. As we all know, at one time, harness horses and mules were a necessity to civilization. Today, for the most part, these animals fill a recreational need, and driving is one of the fastest growing sports in the equine industry. While there are some practical applications connected to pulling contests, most people want nothing more than to drive for pleasure or competition. This tape is a starting point for you. It will show you what you can do and how it's done. However, before we begin, you need to understand something very important. Driving a horse or mule is very different from riding. The details are more important, and it's much more difficult to learn the basics, let alone the finer points. Let's take an analogy. Let's think of riding as driving a pickup truck, and driving a horse or mule as flying an airplane. Just because you can drive a pickup truck doesn't mean you can fly an airplane. And if you need to fly a plane or want to fly a plane, you need more than just one lesson to become a pilot. The point I'm making is this: driving is fun, and it certainly looks easy. But of all the equine activities, it is the most potentially dangerous, not only to you, but to many other innocent people. If you get in trouble while riding, you might get thrown off. If you get in trouble while driving, you end up with a runaway animal and a careening vehicle crashing into everything in its path. So please recognize that driving can be dangerous, no matter how experienced you may be. And if you're not experienced, don't rely on this tape alone to train your animal to drive. Get some driving lessons from an expert. While this video features simple, easy-to-follow lessons designed to teach you correct training methods, use it as a supplement to a teacher or coach. Look at these lessons as an investment in your safety and success. Make sure your driving experience is enjoyable and safe.
Before you go on with your training, make sure your mule has learned his groundwork lessons well.
He should respond obediently to walk on, reverse G, reverse haw, whoa, and trot while being lunged in the round pen and on the lunge line minus the turns. He should respond obediently to your verbal commands and terrain cues coming from both sides and behind his body when ground driving. He should be capable of executing lateral movements when you ask for a higher level of skill. And he should negotiate an obstacle course with confidence and obedience. When he's solid in these areas, then he's ready for the next level of training.
The time to determine whether your mule is a good candidate for driving is before you hitch him up.
Basically, horses and mules have two distinctive reactions to danger: flight or freeze. An animal with a strong flight instinct is not a good choice for driving training. Rather, pick an animal who will wait to see what's happening rather than running off and then taking a peek. Face it, it's scary to have something noisy rumbling behind you. And to compound the problem, your mule will be wearing blinders so he can't see what it is that he's dragging along. Can you see how important it is to make sure that you have a mule that will stay fairly calm and in control when facing new situations? And for heaven's sake, don't think that if you have a horse or mule that you can't ride because he bucks or rears, that maybe he'll drive. No. Choose an animal who will not only be a pleasure to drive, but will also be safe.
The basic equipment used for pleasure driving is the harness. Its function is to attach the mule or donkey to the cart.
There are many styles and sizes, each built specifically for a certain breed or to ensure optimum performance at a certain event. But there's a third factor: safety. In driving, it's especially important that you have good quality harness. My suggestion is that you buy new harness to fit your animal. There are many reliable tack shops which specialize in harnesses, and they have experts to make sure you get just what you need. Buying used harness or something at a barn auction can be tricky, and leather that looks good may actually be ready to fall apart because of dry rot. Look at buying a new harness as an investment and buy the best quality available.
A harness bridle is similar to an English riding bridle.
Major differences are the addition of blinders, sometimes called blinkers, and bearing or check reins. Blinders are pieces of leather attached to the cheek pieces to eliminate side and rear vision. They need to be adjusted so they don't rub his eyes. Incidentally, make sure the chin chain is flat if you're using a Liverpool-type bit. Check reins may either be an overcheck or a side check. They are both a training and safety device to keep the mule from dropping his head too low, but not so tight that his head is held unnaturally high. If your mule gaps his mouth, you can add a flash noseband on the existing noseband of the harness bridle. By the way, for many mules, or those with very small noses, a nylon dog collar makes a wonderfully versatile noseband. There are several styles of driving bits. You will want one that is mild and similar to those used for riding, such as the half-cheek snaffle or Liverpool bit. The driving lines are attached to the bit and are similar to reins, but of course long enough to reach the vehicle. A harness collar, the harness, and the traces are what actually attach to the vehicle. As the animal moves forward, it is called in draft, which is where the term draft horse came from so long ago. There are two types of collars, a neck collar and a breast collar. I actually prefer to use a neck collar simply because it doesn't shift as much as a breast collar. Mules are sensitive to pressure on the chest area where they often are a little more narrow than a horse. A breast collar harness can easily get crooked and not pull evenly. This is especially critical for donkeys. Neck collars are made for an individual animal exactly and are not adjustable, so proper fit is crucial. Measurements for neck collars are taken from the inside, top to bottom. Measure your mule from the point of his chest to just in front of the withers. You'll need an extra 2 inches in the collar for comfort. Neck collars are used when pulling a heavy load and are common for agriculture and for weight pulls. A breast collar is a heavy strip of leather across the chest, suspended from a neck strap. Because it is lightweight and can be easily adjusted to fit a variety of animals, it is the choice for very light vehicles. We'll talk about vehicles in a bit. Anyway, the traces are attached to the collar, one on each side, running back to the vehicle. The rest of the equipment is an elaborate surcingle called a saddle or pad, which supports the weight of the two-wheel vehicle, absorbs road bumps, and carries the shafts. The crupper keeps the saddle from slipping forward. Breeching is used so your mule can stop the vehicle and back, and tugs support the shafts. Kicking straps can be attached to the shafts, so if the mule were to try to kick, the shafts would inhibit him getting his hind end high enough to do damage.
The harness, with all of its parts, can seem a little complicated in the beginning. But don't worry, with a little practice, harnessing safely will become second nature. Next, we'll go to the round pen and work on lunging in harness.
Colorful Colorado, with its majestic Rocky Mountains and wide open spaces, also boasts the Loveland Long Years Museum and Sculpture Park at the Lucky 3 Ranch, home of some of the finest mules and donkeys in the world. This working ranch is just 40 miles north of Denver. World-renowned authority on mules and donkeys, Meredith Hodges, invites you and your family for an adventure in learning you won't want to miss. Come visit the Lucky 3 Ranch, meet Meredith, her champion mules and donkeys, and take in the beauty of her long years art for the experience of a lifetime.
Hi, I'm Meredith Hodges, and welcome to the Lucky 3 Ranch Training Tips. At one time, harness horses and mules were a necessity to civilization. Today, for the most part, these animals fill a recreational need. Driving is one of the fastest growing sports in the equine industry. While there are some practical applications connected with pulling contests, most people want nothing more than to drive for pleasure or simple competition. Before we begin, you must understand something very important. Pay attention to detail, and it's much more difficult to learn the basics, let alone the finer points. Driving a horse or mule is very different than riding. Here's an analogy. Just because you can drive a pickup truck doesn't mean you can fly an airplane. And if you want to fly an airplane, you need more than just one lesson to become a pilot. The point is this: driving is fun, and it certainly looks easy. But of all the equine activities, it's the most potentially dangerous for you, for others, and for your equine. If you get into trouble while riding, you might get thrown off. If you get into trouble while driving, you could wind up with a runaway animal and a careening vehicle that's crashing into everything in its path. So please recognize that driving can be dangerous, no matter how experienced you might be. If you're not experienced, don't rely on my DVDs alone to train your animal to drive. Get some driving lessons from an expert. I feature simple, easy-to-follow lessons in my Training Mules and Donkeys DVDs. They are designed to teach you correct training methods for a good foundation that will provide numerous options for you and your equine. Use our lessons as a supplement to a teacher or coach, and look at the lessons as an investment in your safety and success. Make sure your driving experience is safe and enjoyable.
He's a friendly kind of guy.
Every owner knows that a well taken care of equine is a happy equine. More and more, a technique being used to enhance our animals' overall conditioning is equine massage.
What you have to realize is you're training an animal in their muscle tissue, and their muscle tissue has to be able to perform the task that you're asking the animal to perform. If you're having a hard time doing the advanced things, you need to go back to the beginning. The massage helps break the pattern of the neurons that fire to that muscle, that tell it to contract, to contract, to contract.
With proper instruction, just about anyone can learn to give their equine the benefit of basic massage.
I've been working on equines for a long time, and a lot of people look at you and hope that you can just come out and make an animal better. And you can't do that. It takes two pieces, the massage as well as the exercise. And the exercise is actually more important than the massage. And that's something that people really have to understand. And Meredith's tapes do that. And a lot of people don't want to take that long a time frame. They just want to do their 60 days, get on the animal and ride them. But that's not really where you can go with their backs.
For more intensive therapeutic massage, be sure to consult a professional. Equine massage not only enhances your animal's health and overall condition, it's also a deeply personal and rewarding bonding experience for both of you.
Many of you who love your horses also love your dogs. This type of massage can be beneficial for all your pets. If you want to improve your animal's quality of life, I can help. I can either teach you how to do it, or I can massage your dogs for you. Contact me at dogmassage.com.
Hi, I'm Meredith Hodges, and welcome to the Lucky 3 Ranch Training Tips. You will need assistance for this next phase of training, so ask a friend to act as your assistant. If you are training a horse, you must always use an assistant. You'll be working in a small arena or round pen, and your equine must become accustomed to seeing and feeling scary things. We'll be taking the sacking out phase of training a step further. A harness consists of many flapping leather straps. You must desensitize your animal to them before it's safe to hitch him to a cart. Shafts bumping against his body can also be frightening, and who knows what scary things he'll encounter on a trail or in a parade. Your goal with this lesson is to make him as bulletproof as possible. Your equine should be wearing his halter each time you take him to the round pen. Tie him to a stout post or ask your assistant to hold him. This will be your equine's harness training workstation. Begin with something he's already used to, the saddle blanket. Then gradually add bells, plastic bags of empty cans, a tarp, anything scary, noisy, and floppy, as long as it will not cause injury or danger. When he can handle these objects, put on the driving bridle with blinders and allow him to get used to objects that he can't see but can hear and feel. Have him drag a tractor tire while you ground drive. Ask your assistant to control the line to the tractor tire so it can be released quickly if necessary. Add a PVC pole in order to desensitize him to the feel of a shaft on his body. You will need a piece of PVC pipe 15 to 18 feet in length. In a small arena, begin gently touching his body with the pole. Reassure him that all is okay. Then attach the pole to the harness like a shaft. Have your assistant lead him while you ground drive him with the PVC pole hanging from the side. When he's not bothered by that, lunge him with the PVC pole. An equine that is steady and responsive with a PVC pole in the tug, simulating the shafts, is then ready to pull an object like a travois. You can also use two heavy poles that are tied together at the base so they will pull evenly. As with all training, begin slowly and build your equine's confidence with prompt rewards and a soothing voice. Soon he will realize that these things will not hurt him. Reward him as he learns to be calm and accepting of the things he can see, as well as the things that touch his body. When he remains calm and accepting, he is then ready to be introduced to a vehicle.
Artwork inspired by mules and donkeys is quickly gaining popularity. Tennessee mule artist Bonnie Shields has the uncanny ability to capture the fun-loving nature of these free-spirited animals.
They were like a horse, but they weren't like a horse. They had a little different body. They used their body a different way. They certainly had a different mental attitude. So they started intriguing me as an artist, and I kept finding the differences between them and the horse, both physically and in their reaction to things. So that started my love affair with the mule. When you deal with the mule, you're not always in charge. So it takes a little bit of a different kind of personality to appreciate the mule and to work with it.
She was the only artist that could really capture the essence of mules and donkeys. Because mules and donkeys are really good teachers and teachers of life lessons. And Bonnie has just been an inspiration to me ever since.
Wow, how'd it do?
Whoa. I know that all through the years, Meredith gives tours to the ranch. But what a wonderful addition to this whole ranch would be a sculpture park just for the mules and the donkeys. So I just thought it was an awesome idea. And then she let me be part of it. It's a wonderful thing, and when you come to visit the Lucky Three, it's just an added bonus.
Mule people! You reckon I can get Meredith to make a tape on how to teach your mule to shovel snow? I sure gonna try. Wish me luck.
Just a wonderful human being, and working with her is always humorous. She is just funny as the day is long, and so I thought that she would be absolutely perfect as the illustrator for the Jasper series that I wanted to do.
The Daydreamers was inspired by a thing that I saw years ago. I heard about this family up in Kentucky. They'd been working tobacco out in the field with their mules. And one of the boys, he was laying across this mule's back, laying in the shade. They'd been working, and he was resting on the back of his mule in the shade. That just kind of stuck with me, and I thought, gee, a kid like that, you know, he thinks he's stuck on the farm. He thinks he's stuck doing all this terrible old work, and he's laying up there and he's daydreaming about getting away from it all. So that's where Daydreamer came from. Sculpture's not the only thing I do. Matter of fact, I got into sculpture maybe a little later in my career. Mostly, I was known for my pencil drawings and my acrylic paintings for many, many years.
Long ears art. It may be whimsical, like a cartoon, or it may simply be breathtaking. Long ears are taking their place in the world of art, and it's the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Lunging and ground driving your mule in harness is an important step in his training.
It's here you will become accustomed to the proper rigging. After all, there's a lot of straps attached. He will become used to the blinders on the bridle and the flapping leathers. He will also become accustomed to things that he can't see happening behind him. So take the time to make sure you understand how each piece should fit and that he's comfortable and calm.
There's a lot of straps on a harness that attach to the vehicle, and when you're lunging your mule, you need to tie these straps up out of the way. We're going to start and make sure that the strap here is secured. This is the tug, and the shaft usually comes through here. And we're going to get this buckled here right now. Usually you would wait until you get your shafts through. Then we're going to come back here. Let's see, we make sure that our overcheck is done here. And this one actually is a side check on this mule because it comes down the side here to the bit. The overcheck would actually come from here and straight back. Okay, then we're going to go to the back to the breeching on the mule. And we've got a kicking strap back here on this harness, so we're just going to take this, and it ordinarily goes around the shaft, but we're just going to buckle it right back up into itself here. The next straps we have here, we've got what's called the quarter strap when you're driving a team, where this strap comes forward underneath the mule. And if you're driving single, this strap here, this other one, goes around the shaft. Then this is for a single hitch. Because I drive both teams and singles, I usually use my single straps on here and leave them here because when I attach the quarter straps, I go ahead and tie my mules together with a single hitch strap. Now we're going to take the quarter strap and come up to here where it belongs. Right into that ring right there. And it should be fairly snug. This one's probably a little loose. We could tighten it up a little bit here. Okay, we don't want it so tight that it annoys them. We're going to take this strap here, which is a single hitch strap, and bring it forward to the tug, put it through, and buckle it back on itself. And as you can see, all the straps are clean and out of the way. The traces are tied up in front. Now we're ready to lunge and ground drive.
You can lunge and ground drive your mule in full harness. Just be sure the traces stay up and out of the way as you work him.
Verbal commands are vital to driving. After all, you only have 3 ways to communicate with your mule: through your voice, through the whip, and through the lines going to the bit.
There are a lot of variables to take in when picking the right length of driving whip, like the size of the animal and the size and style of the vehicle. But it should be well balanced with a drop lash long enough to reach your mule's shoulder. We will assume your mule has learned to move forward with energy at a walk and trot. He knows how to halt and stand quietly, to turn to the right, G, and to the left, ha. He's also learned to back. In other words, he must be obedient and maneuverable before he can advance to the next phase of training. We will also assume you've been able to do a little fine-tuning on these responses by teaching him to G over, move to the right, and ha over, move to the left. That is, he's learned to keep his shoulders and hips more or less parallel to the side of the arena as he moves off on an angle to the right or left. It's his legs which will cross over as he moves in the direction you want. Don't be alarmed if this exercise is very awkward in the beginning. It will take you and your mule a little time to get into sync with each other, and this is what learning is all about. But it's mostly a matter of fine-tuning his obedience to your voice, rein, and whip commands. Once he is moving easily from one corner of the arena to the opposite corner, try going from corner to middle, then vary the patterns to increase his flexibility. Teach G around and ha around near the fence. Eventually move into the open. Have your mule move in a lateral circle 360 degrees around you. Basically, you want him to do a long side pass on an arc with you in the center like the hub of a wheel. If you have difficulty in the open, you can always go to the rail of the fence. Once he understands the basics of lateral motion, you can teach him to side pass with no forward motion on the long lines. Train him to become accustomed to whip cues and remember to use only the smallest cue possible. Make sure your hands and the whip are consistent and non-punitive. Teach him to side pass in the open. Use the same cues as for the lateral moves, but ask him to move over instead of forward and over until he reaches the wall. Use verbal commands, ha over and G over, to aid him. If you do these exercises correctly, you will soon be able to drive your mule around and through any kind of trail obstacle with him remaining calm and compliant. Some good obstacles would be a ground pole in front of the fence and a ground pole in the open. You might also try some T-poles and even a tractor tire. Your workbook has diagrams to illustrate these moves in detail. When your mule finally gets the hang of it, they're really a lot of fun. It's important that he master these lateral movements so he will avoid doubling in the middle when he's between the shafts. In other words, to avoid a wreck. To safely turn a cart in a small area, he must learn to move his entire body when asked. So be diligent about teaching these skills. They're important for your safety and for his.
Once your mule or donkey has mastered these ground driving exercises, it's time to start thinking about what type of cart or carriage you need.
Cart and carriage design is very traditional, but whatever vehicle you plan to use, pay attention to 2 things: the weight of the vehicle and the size of the shafts. When driving a young mule, it's best to use a light cart. A young or unconditioned animal can easily strain its shoulder muscles if the cart is too heavy. The lighter the cart, the less stress the mule's body is exposed to. Also pay special attention to the size of the shafts.
They should be wide enough so the animal can bend his whole body, not just his neck, and they should be long enough to reach the point of the shoulder. Finally, make sure you select a vehicle that pulls easy and is proportional to your mule. The large two-wheel carts are very popular for driving classes now, but make sure your mule is well conditioned. You might also enjoy a one-person jog cart with motorcycle-style tires. And for family fun, it's hard to beat a four-wheeled surrey or buggy. While there are many styles of carts and carriages for finished animals, I recommend you do your training with what's called an easy entry cart. It's substantially built with safety in mind, and the easy entry means easy exit in case of emergency. It's also better to use a metal cart for training instead of an expensive wooden vehicle. If you have a wreck, the metal cart can be bent back into shape if it's not weakened or broken. With a wooden cart, it might take weeks to be repaired or replaced.
As you can see, there's a lot of work to getting your animal to drive safely. In the next segment, we'll demonstrate how to acquaint your animal to the cart so there are no surprises when you finally hitch up.
Having problems? Need an accessible trainer? Whether you're just a weekend trail rider or showing, the principles of training are the same. You want a safe and reliable equine companion. Produced by Meredith Hodges, Training Mules and Donkeys, a logical approach to long ears, will help you build a good working relationship with your animal. Meredith reveals the secrets of successful maintenance and resistance-free training that can be implemented by anyone, resulting in a satisfying partnership between you and your equine. Meredith answers your training questions promptly via mail or phone. Her books are great general resources and her videos are detailed, outlining the day-to-day exercises needed to produce a versatile and dependable equine companion. Meredith's techniques work with all equines. Do you have children, grandchildren? Check out Jasper, the story of a mule. For more information, check out our website at www.lucky3ranch.com or call 1-800-816-7566.
Mules are working their way into the hearts of people everywhere. If you'd like to know more about these wonderful long-eared animals, you can contact us at 1-800-816-7566 or get on our website at lucky3ranch.com.
Dusty old quilt hung crooked on a couch in an old stone house by a lazy river. Songbirds singing to me like slow ride